All right, let's give it a go. Play for maybe a half hour. Sorry I haven't been around lately. Not that anybody watches anyways, but hey. Them's the breaks, right? All right. Get into this. Not typically great at these super shooty uppers. Miss my bananas. Ah. I feel like these are really like marathon games, being able to just hit the button as much as you can. Not doing well. Let's see what happens if we continue. Okay, it does. I just was curious. It does restart your thought this was kind of curious. It turns everything into tomatoes. You know, I will say I do like games that give you the ability to continue. Because then you get to, you know, especially in the home environment, because then you get an opportunity to kind of like just see, okay, let's prepare for the next round or level or whatever. If you're no good like me. Let's continue one more time. Man. Let's do it. Let's just keep going. Only took 3 continues, right? I'm up for the challenge. I'm up for learning kind of how these games work. I feel like I do really well in puzzle games because I guess I can grasp, you know, it's a little easier to kind of say like, okay, I just need to figure this puzzle out. I guess I don't like dodging. And I also don't like pounding the button so much. I find it to be enjoyable, but I feel like if this had auto fire, maybe? Nope. One more continue, just to see what's what. I'm not sure. It looks like that's, you know, seems to serve as like a bomb or something. All right. Not my favorite game. We'll do like 15 more minutes. Okay. Let me get that banana. Mm. No. Hello. So the I used to do a pinball podcast. Yeah, so yeah, I used to do a pinball podcast called the Boom Go Pinball Podcast. You can probably still find it on you know, iTunes or whatever. But the 10 Pence Challenge is a podcast that I listen to out of England. And they're an arcade podcast. It's good. They're good people. And so, like, typically every 2 weeks they'll give you a challenge game. You know, they'll give you the settings, and they'll give you, and then you have about 2 weeks to, you know, get whatever high score you can on that particular game. And, it's fun. And then at the end of the year, whoever has the most points gets like a free t-shirt or something like that. So, but I have been, you know, number one, I'm not a good player. So there's that. Number two, I don't really play sporadically, so. I know. See, I like it because I like it for that exact reason. I like it because it gives me a reason to play games that I wouldn't otherwise. And games that and like I don't think I would ever play a game like this. It's not like I think I would play it, but I don't think I would really get into it or try to, you know, do anything with it. So, you know, it really gives me an excuse to like, okay, let's really, you know, spend a week screwing around and give it my best. You know, I like it because, you know, like I think that, because elevator action, for instance, was like kind of slower, I would have probably given up on elevator action sooner. But I really started liking it. I think I'm going to go back to elevator action at some point, just as like a, you know, kind of a backup game. I know. It's weird. Like, I started playing it at first, and I was like, I don't get it. Well, I mean, I guess I got it, but I just didn't. I felt like it was too slow. But once you start working out a technique, like, it's fun. Ah, I knew it. I don't know what that shield does. I feel like it it doesn't seem to really like do anything for me. This is a really weird level. I like those. I do like these attack swarms because it's like you can kind of knock them out. They kind of fall right into your line of fire. Ah, so close. Yeah. Well, this is my best game ever. All right, let's try to get to. It's probably only my 5th game ever, right? I like these extra symbols. They're fun. Right, yeah. I gotta get to that fit. I try to set goals, like, very. I feel like very reasonable goals. I try to say, okay, well, like, let's get to 50,000. Like that. That'll be my goal. Figure out, and then if I can get to 50,000, okay, let's get to 60,000, whatever. Just try to keep it a little more realistic. But yeah, I mean, I turned this game. They announced that this game was going to be the next one. Turned it on maybe last night. Played 1 or 2 games. It was like, oh gosh, here's it's a scrolling shooter. It's like, here we go. I think it's weird because I think that as a teenager or as a kid, I oh my gosh, I was looking at the chat. I liked these kind of games better. That was like, man. It's those, so I think I need to, like, I spend less time right down there at the bottom because those dragonflies really sneak up on you. They creep up on you. High point area. This is great. Game over, right? Whoa, bug! Found a bug in the system. I just screwing around with the joystick and the background disappeared on me. So it seems like, which is nice, and again, this is probably more of a pattern, kind of a pattern game, maybe, I don't know. Because it seems like a lot of the power-ups and point specials and stuff, like there was that like 10,000 point banana. It's like always there. So I think I'm starting to see that part of winning, or doing well in this game, is maybe just knowing where the bananas are, right? Or the tomatoes, for that matter. Ah, I knew it. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Okay. Dang it. I know. And see, that's, I think, and again, even though here we are, we can play as much as we want, I, I always went for the games that I could, at least get like 10 minutes out of a quarter. And, I like this though, because, I like being able to play these kind of games now, because I didn't spend much time playing them before. Apparently there's, if you can, there's certain bonuses for like clearing the screen. So, it's all, I really like thinking about the different techniques to, do well. Ah, too close. Man alive. I like the name though, Exed Exes. All my exes live in Exed Exes. Gotta make it count. I love these skulls. I missed my opportunity. Dang it. I'm gonna go back to the chat. I missed some of that. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, Oh, speaking of which, I think, so I work in video production. I think it would be really cool just to kind of do do like a documentary about the, the history of, high score initials. Like kind of think about that, because, I know in pinball, high score initials really didn't come about till I'm trying to think, maybe mid 80s. And I think they came out a result of arcade people, or being able to, in the early 80s, really, you were able to put your initials into a game at the arcade, with a arcade video game. And so, people wanting to have that. So just, and about, about the pride of being able to be, of having, your initials up and nobody being able to take them down, and kind of the battle of your local, thinking that you were the hot new hotness, on your scene. And gotta get away from the bottom there. I'm not gonna do well. Oh well. I know, it's a weird, it's a weird thing because I always think, when I'm on here, it's like, well, I'm gonna kill half an hour or whatever. But it's odd to think like, the pride and the, and kind of the bragging rights that can really come with those, and people say, hey, did you know that he's, QZP? Oh man, that guy's a legend. And really to think like, okay, well, what did you do? Like you're, maybe at best you have really quick reflexes. But I think that comes with any sport. It's like, oh gosh, well, we're gonna pay you, $10 million because you know how to put a ball in a hoop or run really fast or whatever. But I think what was nice was, as a nerd or somebody who wasn't able to really do physical feats of strength, you could really use your brain more. Video games took a lot more, were a lot more high level thinking and planning and pattern recognition, and it really, and kind of understanding, how computers work and stuff like that. So get away from the bottom of the screen, Adam. And so like, my initials are for my family. Like when I do my initials, I don't put in my initials, I put my family's initials in. And because it's like, oh, okay, well, I like to like to think when, if I'm going off to the stupid. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple really cool software programs you can get for like, I don't know, 15, 20 bucks or something like that have like a very visually attractive presentation. I can't remember. There was one, so I'm on Pinside, which is the pinball forum. And there was one that a lot of people were talking about that looked gorgeous, because it incorporated the marquee art or the backlash art, and it was just really well maintained. And I think I'd like to do that because I obviously it's a lot more visually appealing than just a whiteboard or something like that. But especially for some games that don't have initials, I have a lot of older games that they're older than that initial kind of thing. It's a great addition to your game room, absolutely. Right into me. Man, I gotta use that. Man. I scored. Yeah. It's great. Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's a great little one. All right, what do we got? Maybe we'll play maybe one or two more games. I appreciate you tuning in. This is great. I mean, it's such a weird time. When I streamed pinball, I would do like because I would work from home like every Friday last year, and so every Friday at lunchtime I would do it, and I was getting a pretty good following, and pinball. I think pinball you can get a lot. You get a lot of people who are just like curious. They're just they just kind of stop in, and it's kind of a little something different. So once I started streaming arcade games, I've definitely been having little trouble finding an audience that wants to watch games at lunchtime on a weekday. But they're there. They're there. Not that Not that I need an audience, right? I just need. I started partly in the back of my mind to keep my ego in check. I'm like, well, I'm just really doing this so I don't have to take a picture of my score to submit it. All right. What do we got? So I got the joystick I have are those zippy sticks, which I wasn't really liking at first, but I took it apart and kind of screwed around with it a little bit because I like in my 8-way games I like the stick being kind of looser, and this is so I got it almost too loose. I think man. I don't know what that shield does. Cause it definitely didn't protect me there. Dead, right? I know! It's weird. It's so weird. Like, I was trying to think back because it had been obviously 20 years or something before, 15, 20 years before since I last really had a good, true arcade experience. And I was trying to remember like what are in the heyday in the 90s and 80s and stuff, like were joysticks like really loose? Because they're loose now because the grommets are all messed up. It's like, were they loose? Were they tight? Were like some loose and some tight? I imagine somewhere tighter, somewhere looser. Yeah, it's fun. So what part of the world are you from? And did you look into that hook, that updated hook ROM? I would say that San Diego, cool. I have a friend in San Diego who runs a business called Middle of Beyond. It's weird cardigans and sweatshirts and t-shirts, or not sweatshirts, but cardigans, sweaters. He does these carpets, weird carpets, like, and they're all based on different movie licenses that he picks up, and he just started getting into some more accessories like wallets. He did he did a Necronomicon from Necronomicon wallet from Evil Dead. There we go. Right, yeah. Speaking of construction, so I'm in Ohio, and it's been really cold here. Like for instance, today is, it's in Ohio, it's fairly cold, right? To begin with in the winter. And so it's been cold and snowy and all that, and then so it's 50 degrees, which is extremely balmy for us this time of year. And so all the snow started melting, and I think some ice had gotten into the walls or something like that, because like behind where my Ghostbusters was, I moved it over here, there was like a little leak coming out of the wall, just from the snow melting on the roof and whatnot. Because this was something that we did kind of separate. Like it's kind of an attachment to the house. So I had to move Ghostbusters and try to figure out what I'm going to do with that. The good news is, bad news is that it's going to probably be like about between 0 and 15 degrees here, starting maybe Sunday or Monday. So the water will freeze, which is good. The bad news is if there's any water in the cracks or in the wood, it's going to split that. So we'll figure it out. So I will be probably this spring be tearing that wall out, and or at least not a huge part. I mean, maybe a 2-foot section of the wall. Luckily, they're just paneling there, and then I have extra paneling and I have extra insulation. So, all right, this is it. 100,000 or bust. 100,000 or quit. Either way, I'm going to quit after this one. Get away from the bottom there. Yeah, I don't like games where the enemy can come at you from an angle that you can't shoot at them. So like, you know, the bottom, for instance, you know, like if they can come up and sneak up my butt and I can't shoot them, I don't rightly think that's fair. Went up when I should have gone over. Nah, bust. All right. Well, you have a great day in balmy San Diego. I'm Jelly. And I will I don't know. I hope to catch you on the flip side. Take care. Peace out.